Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have a subscriber suggested video here on this one. It is from Visit East of England, and it is The Friendly Invasion, Cambridge American Cemetery and Memorial, exploring American heritage in East Anglia. So I don't know much about this one yet. I guess just from the description, it's a war cemetery and it contains over 3,800 U.S. personnel. So I am interested to hear the backstory and history of this. Uh, I will link this video in the description as always, along with a link over to Patreon and links of how you can support the channel here on YouTube, either by becoming a member, getting yourself some extra perks like getting to view videos days ahead of other people, or just with a one-time donation. If you're able to help, please do so. If not, glad you're here anyway, but let's go ahead and jump into it.
The American Battle Monuments Commission exists to honor the service of American military personnel during the two wars. Traditionally, we maintain the venue, but now, as we look forward into the future, we see that we've got an added responsibility to tell the story of what happened to a new generation and to make that relevant to them. When we first created these sites, the focus was simply maintaining the venue for the Gold Star mothers. You really didn't need to tell them the story. They'd lived through it. They'd had a very personal connection with it. So our focus was maintaining the cemetery for them to come and grieve. Now, 75 years later, those ladies are long gone. And most of the people alive today have no memory of the war and have no interaction with anyone who does. So our role becomes to tell the story in a manner that's relevant to them today. And the way the agency's chosen to do that is to use the vehicle of the powerful biographies we have to make that human connection between a new audience of young people and the stories of courage and sacrifice that this cemetery has so many of. As early as the spring of 1942, we had the Army Air Corps arriving in this area in great numbers, and we had operations rather early in 42 into Europe. We had casualties, and we obviously needed somewhere to bury our dead. Cambridge University gave us the 30-acre parcel of land here in the centre of Cambridge, and on the 7th of December 1943, which was a date chosen 2 years to the day after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, we buried for the first time here, and then we buried throughout the war. At the end of the war, this site was chosen as the permanent cemetery in the UK to house all those whose bodies were remaining from the conflict in the Second World War. To see what these men were thrown into at such a young age is humbling, and seeing how they responded to that. Some of the more powerful experiences for me have been hearing the stories of these young men who were thrown into absolutely appalling situations and responded with courage that really was humbling to hear about. One of the more powerful experiences I've had here in the last few months was a visit of a 95-year-old veteran who came back with his daughter on perhaps a last visit to Madingley. And his daughter gave this to him as his 95th birthday present. And he came here and he explained that the last time he'd come to Madingley was to bring a crew to be buried. And he told me the powerful story of his connection to that crew. Now, this man had been a gunner, a teenage gunner, who'd been injured on a previous flight, so he was off air status. So he was not on flying duty. And while he was off flying duty, the Army Air Corps gave him driver assignments. And on one particular day, his job was to pick up a B-17 crew, take him to eat. They ate breakfast. They wanted to stop by the chapel on the way to the aircraft. And he said when they arrived at the aircraft, they all huddled. They put their arms around each other and they took a moment of silence together. And he said that was a powerful moment. And then they went off on their flight. I think it was a mission into a target into Germany. And they were damaged on the flight. They received some flak damage. And on landing, they crashed. And although they arrived back at the airfield, they crashed and they were all killed. And his last duty of that particular day was to pick the bodies up, bag them up, and drive them to Mattingly American Cemetery. And that was the last time he was here. He came with his notebook with these 10 names that he jotted down 75 years ago and came back to visit those men. And 9 of them had been repatriated, but the 10th was still here. And it was a powerful moment to be standing with him over the grave of that one remaining soldier and have him tell me the story of his personal connection. And it's experiences like that for me that are the most powerful as superintendent here. In particular in the UK, our role is to reinforce and advance what Churchill referred to as a special relationship between the British and the Americans. And certainly nothing speaks more powerfully of that special relationship than does the 10,000 souls that are commemorated here in Mattingly.
That was a really good video. That was from 2017. So it was 9 years ago. It was before Trump. Yeah, I had a couple questions on this. One of why, like they said, the 9 of the 10 guys got repatriated. So I assume that means that they brought their bodies back for burial here. I do wonder why they still exist over there, if it was up to the family of whether they wanted to disturb them or not, but why initially they were even buried. I mean, I guess just maybe it was easier at the time to bury them there, or why they didn't go ahead and bring them back. I'm not sure. I'll have to find out more about that. Very kind of Cambridge to give that land up to allow those soldiers to have proper burials, though. But you know that the story that he told was really beautiful, sad, but you know that he talks about the relationship between the UK and the US, and I think most of us that have any respect for other people, any respect for history, that are here in the US most likely didn't vote for the Orange Cheeto Man to be there, but we're watching him, you know, side with Russia, and essentially, I think he's using a lot of Putin's tactics on Americans right now. We had a journalist get arrested this morning that I'm filming this, Don Lemon. Um, Federal judges wouldn't even sign off on the arrest, and they went ahead and did it anyway. Um, just attack after attack after attack on everything that we stand in, and it's wild to watch the other side, the Republicans, bend over backwards to now fight against things that they've traditionally always fought for, like the Second Amendment. They're the ones that are like, oh well, children, it's okay that children die in school because it allows us to bear arms. But then, as soon as a protester protesting something they didn't like, who happens to be carrying a gun, although he never reached for it, never took it out, and it was taken away from him before he was ever killed. They justify him getting killed because he happened to be have a holstered gun. Now, it's wild. It breaks your mind to try and figure it out. But he's ruined relationships. With Canada, with you guys. Um, China. I mean, he's just it's insane. It's absolutely insane to watch. Um, I'm so glad Americans are standing up, but it is costing people their lives. They're putting protesters and anybody speaking out against them on lists, on terrorist lists. It's absolutely crazy. It's crazy. Um, to watch, but it is nice to see stuff like this of when things actually made sense. Um, and especially him talking about trying to teach younger generations about it. I think that's part of the problem here is that younger generations just don't understand this. I mean, there's people my age that don't understand it. Older than me that don't understand. It's crazy. It's absolutely just crazy. Um, but stuff like that is really really nice to see. It was a great suggestion from you guys. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed the watch. I hope you guys did as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. Let me know your thoughts on it. If you do know the question of why they did bury, American soldiers there as opposed to ship them home at the time. Um, Let me know, or why they didn't end up moving them all at some point. Of course, maybe it was just, like I said, maybe it was the family that didn't want to disturb, their child's body, or I don't know. Um, I'll try and figure out. But if you guys know, let me know in the comments. And any other thoughts that you guys have on it. I always appreciate what you guys have to say. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have an awesome, awesome day.